Greetings from Cybertron. This is SoundJack here with my top 10 Transformers purchases of the year. So, to clarify before we get into it, top 10 of 2019, I mean top 10 toys I got in 2019. Doesn't mean they had to have been released this year. Could have been any year. Besides the future, I guess. But yeah, I'm going to try to be brief. This is possible. But before we get into the main list, I've decided to put the BotBots in their own top 10 because there's just so many of them and so many of them are good. So, onto the BotBot top 10 list. Number 10, Bankshot. Just love the the design with the pinball and the idea of it being a tilt. Number 9, Unilla Ice Queen Cone. One of the first BotBots I had that wasn't humanoid gave the impression to me of how many varieties of designs we can get throughout this series. Number 8, Rave. You know, it's just funny to me that they turned a deodorant stick into a tombstone, and I just love it. Number 7, King Toots. What more can I say? It's King Toots. It's a toilet paper mummy. How can you not love that? Number 6, Hamurai. The first BotBot we got with an accessory built into him. Wonderful, wonderful. Love to see that. Can't wait to see more accessories coming in future BotBots waves. Number 5, Grampiano. Love the music design, love the piano design. It just appeals to me, even with the weird claw hands. Number 4, Nampy. A pterodactyl grandpa with a cane. How can I not like that? That's just so ridiculous. It's amazing. Number 3, Drippy Pup. It's just so cute. It's so cute. It makes such sense and it's so cute. Number 2, Say Cheez. This one was on my full-on top 10 list last year, but I decided it'd be easier just to group all of the first year of BotBots into one top 10 list to make it all easier. Say Cheez is on this list for the same reasons as last year. The Minicon-esque design of the robot mode just gave such variety to the Series 1 designs that I just love it. Number 1, Coco Crazy. What can I say? This is clearly the best BotBot. It's so cute, so adorable. I just love Coco Crazy. And that's all of the BotBots. So, moving on to the top 10 non-BotBot Transformers I got in 2019. Number 10, Robots in Disguise 2015 Stormshot. Stormshot has been one of those already figures that I was like, looking at it, I was like, oh, that looks cool, and I just never saw one in store. I fortunately got the chance to pick it up this year from someone online. I've just connected it though so much to Mateo Potato that I thought I bought it off of him for some reason, but no, it's not his or any other ones he might have. But Stormshot for Robots in Disguise, for the ones that I have, is such a great figure. It's designed well, the colors are work incredibly well. Articulation is fantastic, especially on a flight stand. It just looks great. The only thing that could make it better would probably be more head tilt. And also, like, the gun, it's just impressive. Number 9, Siege Impactor. The first version of the Wrecker Leader in retail form that was actually good. I refuse to acknowledge the 2012 toy anymore. I do have the Amazon one with the IDW style head, just because I'm more familiar with him through the IDW comics, so I preferred that. But overall, this figure does look amazing, from the turret hand to the design to just everything included with this figure. The only unfortunate slight to it is how hollow the legs are and how relatively limited the ankle tilt is on this particular figure. Number 8, Studio Series Scrapmetal. So this position could have gone to Scrapmetal or Hightower. because both of them very much incorporate something that I very much like. It's a very good looking studio movie figure that is also relatively simplistic and easy to transform compared to others. Transformation wise, to me, both of them do really feel like a siege figure more so than half of a masterpiece. Not to say like Studio Series is like cheap or anything compared to a masterpiece, but like half the steps needed to get to a masterpiece, or have all of those flimsy panels and that are very difficult to peg in together, like the Bumblebee Volkswagen is the main example I can think of. So it was very nice and very refreshing to get this design that didn't even actually appear in the movie to be on a toy shelf and in my collection. Again, Scrapmetal and Hightower basically do the same here, but I chose Scrapmetal over Hightower because I got Scrapmetal first. Simple about that. It gave me more hope and confidence in some of the other Siege figures that were coming out. So it goes to Scrapmetal. Number 7, Siege Shockwave. So I know people complained about this figure being too small for its size class, and just the first one we really had of like, oh, it's a Voyager figure plus $20 with some extra accessories. But you know what? This toy is still great. Sure, it may not have necessarily been $50 to some people, but it looks fantastic next to the Decepticons, and I do very much enjoy the floating platform that Shockwave comes with that can be armor for him or incorporate into be a less G1 looking spaceship mode, and as well the light piping on his head, just superb. It's a great representation of Shockwave in the modern toy line. Number 6, Generation Selects Zaytar. The brunt version of this mold is almost just as amazing as this. The main things that put Zaytar on top for me are the drill head and how it incorporates with the whole weaponizer gimmick in many respects, as well as just it's yellow, and I just really like the color yellow. What do you want me to say? This is my personal top 10. It's an opinion. But Zaytar does pose well, incorporates with others well, and it's just so interesting and fun that such an obscure character got such a good toy. And I'm glad to see these weird repaints and retoolings coming out of toys that you wouldn't think would get an extra use of the mold, you know? Number 5, Siege Bluestreak. Now, this Walmart exclusive I am very pleased with. When I first got the Prowl mold, I liked the mold, it's just the colors did feel off in some regard, especially in alt mode. However, it is completely fixed with Bluestreak here. It just looks so much better. The mold works with him so much better, as well as the fact it includes both the shoulder cannons and the handheld gun, which, while Prowl doesn't come with it, apparently it was screen accurate that Bluestreak had them and Prowl did not. But regardless, this is probably the best version of the mold, though the Barricade does come close. Number 4, Galaxy Force Starscream. Now, this is an incredible find thanks to Miguel, aka Logos Minor. Thank you so much again for picking this up for me. The Galaxy Force Starscream is the only version of the mold that was released in accurate colors. The only one that came out in the US was a Toys R Us 2-pack available in a weird redeco or color lift, if you will. That was, again, 2-pack exclusive to Toys R Us with an unchanged Vector Prime, so I didn't really end up getting it when it was about. But Starscream was such a big player that, like, especially for a Cybertron collection, this figure is almost a must. Posing wise, it is certainly less than the Galaxy Meteor toy I picked up last year and was on my top 10 last year, but it does pose surprisingly well for the limitations it has, especially if you can get it onto a flight stand. Surprisingly can pose better than it seems like it should be allowed to, you know? But yeah, so Galaxy Force definitely takes a high spot for me. Number 3, Generation 1 Hoist. So, I did get the Soundwave this year, so you think he'd be here, but I got Hoist so early in the year. I don't know why. I was just so enamored with him. I just found one that was reasonably cheap at a local store that I had traded some stuff in, and I was like, you know what, I'll pick him up. Not too much more to add on to that. That's great. And I don't know why. It just appeals to me. It just feels so good. I mean, the shoulders a little bit are flimsy, but like, I don't know why. It just appealed to me so much. This weird chunk of the toy that even when it appealed to me so much that I was excited when I saw the Hoist toy for Earthrise being so friggin' accurate, not just to the cartoon model, but to the toy design, that I'm like, yes, give me that. Give me my upgraded Hoist. So I have to give this a spot for a G1 reissue to Hoist. Number 2, Siege Galaxy Upgrade Optimus Prime. Cybertron, my first toy line, got its Optimus Prime represented in a modern toy line nearly over 12 years after it originally aired. Nearly 12 years after it stopped airing. And there are many differences between it and the original Cybertron Prime, but you know what? It's just so good to see a line, a franchise that I had grown up with, that made me introduce me to this rest of this series and all that, got representation and got a new toy this year that it just has to be on near the top of this list. And it would have been the top of the list not for one figure. But before we get to number 1, I think I should go over some honorable mentions from the year. Selects Red Wing. Loved the Starscream mold, and this was even better with the fixed chest, and it was the first version with the fixed chest that I got. So Red Wing is here for the seekers. Siege Ratchet. Amazing mold, the Ironhide mold, and Ratchet just does it with the accessories that he comes with. Generation Shouki. I picked this up from Miguel. Thank you again, Miguel. And I don't know, I never had this mold, but I love how it works. It's a little dated, yes, but it just works so great. Glacialord. This is on the honorable mentions because I don't think a third-party toy really should be on a top 10 list. I mean, I don't get enough, and I said I got the Galaxy Force Starscream on last year's list, but it's very good, it's very nice, very well done, and I got it for a good price, so how can I complain? Robots in Disguise 2015 Scatter Spike. This is purely on here because I'm glad to own this figure, just because of a dumb headcanon I have about Scatter Spike basically being the Bard of Darkmount in the main universe. I don't need to go into detail, but I'm so glad to have her, though I couldn't genuinely put her on the top 10 list just because I've had such a bad experience with this version of the mold, and the Quillfire version was nowhere near this tolerance problematic. Generation 1 Soundwave. I knew I couldn't put it on the top 10, especially with Hoist being there and all of the other great figures, but I just gotta give a shout out to Soundwave because, you know, he's Soundwave. Linkage Volume 1. This was the most exciting purchase I had TFCon this year, and I just had to make mention of it again because I was just so pleased to have run across it. Again, thanks to Miguel for pointing it out to me, and just being able to get it and just mwah, mwah. Also could have fit here would be Unicron or Death Charge and Rampage, as they all also had memorable moments with them at TFCon. But I didn't think any of them really deserved being on the top 10, so I figured I put the one I had the most pleasure to get on the list. So it was this set. And of course, finally, SoundJack with Rationale. Thank you again to Grimlockamus for making this amazing custom. I couldn't put it on the list, honestly, because it's a custom, so I don't feel like it should be on here, you know? And I already had the mold, the base mold, so I couldn't even count that. but it definitely deserves to be mentioned as one of the best and most exciting figures I got this year. And now for the number 1 spot. The best Transformer toy I got this year was BotCon 2011 Toxitron. I was so blown away that I was able to get this. I was just selling some of my stuff on the Facebook group, and I said I would take trades for mostly Beast Wars or animated figures, and then someone popped in saying, I have an animated Toxitron. I'm like, wait, what? What? You're willing to give this for me in trade for some of the stuff I was selling? It's like, and he was like, yeah, and I'm like, holy crap! I had to get confirmation first, but boy, I that was such an exciting moment, and getting it at hand, it was so much better than I expected. I never really bought animated when it was out on the shelves for whatever reason. But I did remember that I didn't think the animated Optimus Prime Voyager toy looked as good as it could have been, but getting it at hand, it's so much better than my expectations had thought of it, and the transformation is smooth, the articulation is great, the colors are fantastic. Like, the axe, sure, it's super oversized and doesn't really make a full trailer, but you know what? It did what it needed to do, and it does it well, and I'm sure the original mold is amazing, but these colors especially, just fantastic, and that strong red light piping. This is just a beautiful figure with an incredible story behind it that gives it the right it deserves of being number 1 for 2019. And those were the best Transformers toys I think I got in 2019. It's the end of the year. It's the end of the decade. I hope you all had a good year, a good holiday season, and a good decade. And if you have any figures you got this year that you would like to share, please let me know in the comments below. And just, if you agree or disagree with any of my picks, again, these are all opinions, so you don't have to agree with them. Just be nice about it if you disagree. And with all of that being said, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like and share this video, and subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at SoundJack426. Also, if you would like to help support the channel, you can check out my Ko-fi account, linked in the description down below. And you should also check out RDSJ Gaming, where I play video games with Alyssa, aka the Rationale Dove. And with all of that being said, thanks for tuning in. This is SoundJack signing off.